fighting over in the Middle East now were wars that were prepared for a long time before 9/11. The war against Iraq they've been itching for that for a long, long time. So 9/11 was just an excuse. Matter of fact, it was a terrible excuse because they neglected to do what they should have been doing, and that is to deal with bin Laden, and they didn't do that for 10 more years. So they avoided that, and then we went into Iraq, and how many lives have been lost in Iraq and Afghanistan? We've lost 8,500 Americans. We had all the military plus our contractors. 44,000 serious injuries, hundreds of thousands of injuries, brain injuries, as well as post-traumatic stress syndrome. We have an epidemic of suicide, both active duty and people that came out. And there was no reason to go there. We were told they had weapons of mass destruction. We were told that they had Al-Qaeda there, and it just wasn't the case. So this was pure deception. One of the other things, I voted for the authority, to deal with those responsible for 9/11. But I wanted to be narrow. That was what we're supposed to do. Keep your eye on the target is what I was saying in a floor speech. But what I also suggested once I saw this was going into nation building and war-mongering and spreading it about and doing all these kind of things, I said what we really need to do is reinvigorate the concept that the Founding Fathers gave us dealing with a situation like this, and that is to look at and understand what a letter of marque and reprisal is all about. And this is something that originated by the founders, put in the Constitution, and it was to deal with pirates. Pirates didn't belong to a government, but Jefferson and others believed we had to deal with them because they were attacking American property. But they said we want it to be narrow. We're not going to attack. We're not going to declare war against the country. So they would write letters of marque and reprisal. The Congress would write it, give the executive branch the authority to do it, as well as even authorizing private sources to do the same thing. I thought it would have been a perfect way. Just think if we had to get, say, bin Laden, wanted to get bin Laden that way, and spent $1 billion, and they probably could have gotten it within a few weeks or 6 months. Actually, we had them cornered at Tora Bora. Just think of what we'd have saved. And this isn't stopping. I mean, this idea that we're coming out of Iraq, don't buy into that. We're going to be in Iraq for a long, long time. We're just scattering the troops around. We're going to be in the biggest embassy ever built in the world. And we have 17,000 that are committed to stay in this fortress. And the troops are going to be spread around in the Muslim Arab world. And it's still not going to be good for us. It's still going to cost us a lot of money. There's not going to be any saving. But none of this can occur without changing our foreign policy. Because if we as a people believe that we have this moral responsibility to make the world safe for democracy, which was all invented by Woodrow Wilson, we're going to be there for a long time. But the worst part about all this is this out of control attitude of allowing our president to do it on his own. I mean, it used to be that at least come to Congress and say, we want to do this, and we're going to go do this, and would inform. But Libya had nothing to do with the Congress. So you, the people, had nothing to say through your congressman. He just did it. He's got permission from NATO and the United Nations resolutions. So we lose twice. The war is bad. It costs us a lot of money, but we lose our sovereignty as well. And now it's Somalia and Uganda and Kenya. We're in all day. Now it's onward for Africa. I mean, when do we wake up and say, we are broke? So I am absolutely convinced, and I've said this for many years, that I'll win this argument. Not because I'm going to convert everybody to what I believe so strongly, but everybody has to be converted because we're broke. This is what brought the Soviet Union to its knees. And they had to leave, and the Soviet Union broke up. And I remember, the height of the Cold War, because I was drafted during the Cuban Missile Crisis. I was in the Air Force for 5 years. They had 30,000 nuclear weapons, and it was touch and go. We never had to fight them. The Soviets defeated themselves economically. So we have a greater threat here at home, a greater threat against our civil liberties, a greater threat against us financially than we do of any chance of anybody invading this country. And we ought to recognize that.